Okay, we're back again with a video about area. So I want to just kind of talk briefly about area, and then I'll show you how to calculate areas with these basic shapes. First of all, I've written here for you what area is. It's a measure of the space inside, or all the stuff inside of a shape. It has nothing to do with the outside. That's where perimeter comes in. So if you're concerned with, okay, what is perimeter? What does it mean? That's only measuring the outside, whereas area is only talking about the stuff inside of a shape, whether or not you have a formula for that. Area just talks about the space inside. Okay, so these formulas that I've written here are going to be really good for you to know. Area is just any side squared, rectangle is length times width, triangle is 1/2 base times height, and circle pi r squared. Okay, so what I want to do now is show you how to calculate the area of each one of these shapes, and I will do each one. Okay, so for a square, start off with that. Say I'm asked to find the area. And this is what they give me first. Okay, so you might be wondering, well, it doesn't say 12 all around, so I'm not sure what kind of a shape this is. That's true, but if you look at the shape the way I've drawn it, these little squares in the corners mean that these are all 90-degree angles. And if you have any quadrilateral, any four-sided figure with 90-degree angles like this, that makes it a square. There's other ways you know it's a square as well. So because I know that this is a square, I know that all sides are going to be 12 feet. And then all I have to do, I don't even really have to label these, I just did that to show you. All I have to do is apply this formula where I pick any side. Since they're all 12, it doesn't matter. Area is side squared, which is 12 feet squared. Now when I square this, the 12 gets it, but look at this, the units of feet also get it. So don't forget to do that. Yeah, 12 squared is 144, great. But area is always going to be in these units right here of feet squared or inches squared, yards squared, miles squared, whatever you're working in with units, your area will always have something squared. Even if it's written out as squared or SQ, it's the same thing. Okay, so there's an example for a square. Let's check out a rectangle. So just draw, expertly drawn in, rectangle. We'll call this a, let's go 2 by 8. No units. Okay, so I know this is a rectangle. I'll just apply the formula real quick. I'll do 2 times 8. That's what the formula tells me to do for a rectangle. Just multiply your length times your width, and you get 16. Now, I don't have any units here on this. So what I'm going to do on this is add them in as part of my answer, and I'll write it in as units. But because I'm working with area, do not forget to make this units squared. Do not forget that piece for area only. If this were perimeter, it would have been good like that. But we're talking about area, so we got to make sure we account for that. Okay, triangle perhaps can be potentially the most confusing. It depends on how the triangle is drawn, the way that you perceive it. All kinds of factors go into play when we're talking about a triangle. I'll draw one out here for you that looks pretty straightforward. I'll label every side. I'll call this 3, 4, 5. I know this is a right triangle from the way I've labeled the sides. I just happen to know that. If you don't know that, that's totally fine. And I just want to know what's the area of a triangle with 2 legs, 3 and 4, and hypotenuse, which means longest side, of 5. Well, it's 1/2 base times height. Now, I like to think of the base as, what is this triangle sitting on right here? Well, to me, it looks like it's sitting on a base of 3. And the height, well, that's usually like any measure that's completely straight from the base all the way up to the tallest point. So from the base of 3 to the tallest point of this triangle is this side, or this leg right here of 4. So all I have to do when I plug in is do 1/2 3 times 4. Now, how you multiply this through is entirely up to you. You can do 1/2 of 3 and then multiply that result by 4. Or you can take 1/2 and apply it to 4. 1/2 of 4 is 2. So I can do that right now. This will become 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay, looks pretty good, except for one thing. Units. This triangle came with none. I know I'm finding an area, so what I would do in the end is just write in that this is units squared. And that would be my answer. Okay, last one to wrap up this video. Circle. Any generic circle you want. Mine are perhaps the best circles that you've seen. It really doesn't get any better than that. It's pretty crazy that I can do that. I don't know. Okay, anyway, let me make this one a little more challenging by giving you this measure. Again, perfectly drawn in. You don't see that right there. You don't see that. Nope. And we'll call that 10. Give me a unit. Okay, thanks. Inches. Okay, so I know that this measure from here going all the way through the center, that's the key, and touching the other side is a diameter. But if I remember or recall from the formula that I have up there for you, area of a circle is pi r squared. Nowhere in this formula do you see anything about some diameter. Luckily for us, the diameter is equal to twice the radius. So that means if I know the diameter, I can find the radius just by taking this whole thing and cutting it in half. That's all I have to do to find the radius. So since 10 is the measure of my diameter, I can solve this equation for r, for the radius, by dividing both sides by 2. Just like that. Nice straight line right here, perfectly drawn in, of course. And when it's all said and done, I could have done this in my head, but if you're, seeing this for the first time, I want to make this clear that your radius is 5 inches, and that's how you can get this every time. Okay, now that you know this fact right here, all you have to do is plug it into this formula right here, and when it's all said and done, you should have an answer that looks like this. Area equals 25 pi, and this is inches, so it must be inches squared because we're talking about area. Now, sometimes your teacher might want you to multiply 25 by pi, or maybe the answer doesn't show pi. So if that's the case, just in your calculator do 25 times 3.14 and you'll get the answer that you're looking for. Thanks for watching.